So today's video is going to be on how I set up my Insta360 X3, and you can use other action cameras as well on the bike. Tips I've learnt from running it, and hopefully it'll be helpful. So what I bought were these mounts here. They're just a cheap eBay number, and they just go underneath where your rear foot pegs go. Now I actually kept the foot pegs on and put them on, and you can see here they've dropped obviously by about ½ an inch, but that's absolutely fine. And then I've mounted it up on the tail of the bike. I've put a double cable tie system here to hold it in, and then out it comes to here. However, even with the cable tie system, you do get a lot of bounce. Like, that's way too much. So what I do is I run it at about that distance here, and that gives far less bounce and a much better, cleaner picture from the X3. Now, when I mounted this on, my logo is upside down. Nothing I can do about it, so I actually wanted to hide it, but here is a massive tip. I turned it the other way around, so the Insta logo was hidden, but then when I put the camera on, it would sit like, actually it sat like that, where the lens was on the ground, which you don't want, because if a stone flicks up and smacks it. So ideally you want the back side here, you want the screen facing up preferably. If you do it here, you're going to get a stitch line at this sort of circle here, which is not really good. Whereas if you do it here, the stitch line's beautiful because it's just, you know, top and bottom, which works really well. Before you actually screw everything down here, or you actually cable tie everything and mount it in place, make sure you put your Insta X3 on the selfie stick, position it where you want, then screw it down, because every time you unscrew this part here and screw it back on, it will always screw into the same spot. So on the rear camera, I mounted it on the left-hand side, thinking that when I go past people on the left, I can get some nice footage of them. In reality, being in the UK and driving on the left, this was not the way to go. So I'm actually going to shift it over now to the right-hand side. My reasoning for putting it on the left is when you actually tuck it away, it just hides and it's on the side where the camera banks down to the left, so it's out the way. However, like I say, driving on the left and mounting the camera on the left has meant that I lose good footage of people coming past on the right as they reach this point here of passing the bike, because I would be sat there and my shoulders are blocking the view. Also, I run this little mount here. Plenty of mounts you can get. Insta have mounts in the box as well. The reason it's on the left-hand side is because usually on the right-hand side, you've got your reservoir and all your switch gear, which is getting in the way. So I've already got the left-hand side of the bike covered. So really, put this on the right-hand side, and then you've got a perfect setup. Obviously, if you're in a country where you drive on the right-hand side, then you might be better off keeping it on the left. Okay, comparisons with selfie sticks. The one that currently is on the bike is the original Action selfie stick. This is the new carbon fiber. Now, if I line that up inside, you can see it is slightly smaller by probably a good sort of inch. Well, that's what a bloke will tell a lady in inches. It's probably a good 4 inches shorter. But as I was saying earlier, because of the bounce in this, you would normally bring it in back to, I would normally run it at around that point. So this actually extends past that. And on the top tree, if I extend that one in, that would make them perfect sizes. The carbon fiber does look a lot nicer. This is the original selfie stick that comes usually free. If you follow my link, you'll get one free as well. But this stick here off the back of the bike is just a little bit too short, unless you're going to start using clamps to bring it up there, and I will show you clamps later. But this is the perfect size for doing selfies. So when it's tucked away, all in all, it's a nice clean install. Dropping on the left hand side, you don't really see it under there. And then when you want to get it out, you just grab the end, pull it out to the desired length, and off you go. And there is more than one way to skin the YoDomCat. So here we have the eBay screw-in bolt-on special. Here we have the original motorcycle kit for the Insta360, and here we have the new motorcycle kit. The newer kit eliminates a little bit of flex within. So the newer kit, you can really tighten these up and make it much more solid. But only slightly over the old, but again, this sleeker, low profile design does look better, not as chunky and agricultural as the old kit. So if you are in the market, it is worth the upgrade. Just a little bit more functionality going on there. And here you can sort of get a feel for all the sticks together. This is the original Action, this is the Selfie, and this is the new carbon fibre. So another good tip to have is within the box you usually get these from the screw adapter to a GoPro adapter. It's nice to put it on the end of the selfie stick and cable tie it to your bike as a final fail-safe if this falls off. Not that that ever really is going to happen. It's more that you've got a spare one of these on your bike, because that is really handy when you want to take the Insta360 screw mount and put it on a GoPro mount. And so here is the 360 Action mount, and here's the little adapter that will take it from a screw to a GoPro, and that I would just leave on the end. So like I say, you've got a spare. This is your eBay foot peg mount, as you would expect, 2 bolts to clamp through. So what you would do is position it on your bike, slide it in, and as you just saw, the rubber that goes in there to tighten it down, you will get a few different ones to find the right grip, and then you would just tighten it on and hold it in position. So for the install, it's really easy because you have the bolts that you would have for your rear foot pegs, and where your foot pegs go, you would literally put your bolt in there and then put the 2 clips here. If you're doing like I'm doing and you want to keep your rear sets, then what I have done is mounted it over the top like this. As I say, it will give a little bit of extra size to the foot peg, but it doesn't really matter. Most of all, remember, before you cinch it down, make sure you put the camera on, that you've got it in the position that you want, then tighten it up. And here it is installed. So just grab, pull out. I think the carbon fibre definitely has a bit less flex to it. And then without the camera on there, you can slide this all the way down. The new carbon fibre selfie stick as opposed to the old. On the old, I ran a cable tie system here to give it some support underneath. I was thinking of doing it here where I would close it to say this point here with this second arm sticking out, and then running a cable tie under here to give some support on that. You can see that's really quite rigid and fully extended. The flex on here is less than you saw on the other, and again you would just pull it in a little bit so it wouldn't be all the way out. I think that's perfectly fine. And then completely shut. I mean, that's clean. Sticks out more because obviously you're on the side where the bike is more up, whereas on the left hand side where it's down, so it's more noticeable, but it's still, I'm happy with that. So that is how I run my Insta360 X3 on the back of my S1000R. I hope this was useful and you got some tips on how you can do it. Thanks so much for watching.